Velma. Velma. There was a superhero. His name was Green Arrow. He was never what you would call an A-list superhero, but people knew who he was. And this was before the Arrow TV show, when everybody found out who he was. Green Arrow found an audience, the audience liked him, and so DC thought, hey, let's kill him off. And so they did. And Green Arrow stayed dead for quite a few years, until DC thought, hey, let's bring Green Arrow back to life. And so they did. Green Arrow came back to life after years of being dead, and all was right in the world, except Green Arrow's best friend, the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, had died while Green Arrow was dead too. And in Green Lantern's place was a new guy. He was the new Green Lantern. His name was Kyle Rayner. I liked Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner was a breath of fresh air. He was a unique take on a character, but Green Arrow? Green Arrow did not like him. Green Arrow was rude to Kyle, super rude. He would put him down, he'd make pithy comments. He was just mean. He was just plain mean to Green Lantern. But Green Lantern took it all because this was Green Arrow. This was Hal Jordan's friend. I have to be polite to this guy. I have to be nice. Until one day, Green Lantern cornered Green Arrow and said, what is your problem with me? Why are you always saying all these mean things about me? I've been nothing but nice to you. And Green Arrow said something that has stuck with me for years. He said, and I quote, "You've done nothing wrong. When I look at you, I see some stranger wearing my best friend's clothes." That is Velma. Velma is a series in which I see a bunch of strangers wearing the clothes of my good friends, but they're not even trying to act like my old friends. It's a bunch of strangers acting like a bunch of strangers dressed up like my old friends, and I don't like that. Velma is a 2023 animated mystery comedy from the great minds at HBO Max who have made absolutely no questionable decisions in the last year. In it, Mindy Kaling plays Velma, who goes to a high school where kids start getting murdered and their brains start getting removed. Velma, because I guess she was in the area, is the number one suspect, and so she must prove her innocence by capturing the real killer. We're told it's Velma's origin story, but I'm not quite so sure. To say that Velma is a misfire is putting it lightly. Heck, it is being darn right charitable to this show. There is nothing in this series that comes close to even being recognizable about the characters that I have literally grown up watching. I have been a lifetime fan of Scooby-Doo. Quite literally. My first memories are sitting at a TV, watching episodes of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I know these characters. I love these characters, and I can tell you something. I have a hard time even calling this a Scooby-Doo adjacent spin-off because it misses the mark so spectacularly. And you know, when I first heard about this series, I was actually excited. I think there's a lot of potential in an adult-targeted Scooby-Doo series. Let the mysteries get a little bit more darker. Let the stakes get a little bit higher. Let Scooby-Doo or Shaggy or Velma or somebody slip out the occasional profanity. Let's be grown up about things. I mean, why can't the show grow up with the audience? If you were 10 years old when the original series came on, you're in your 60s right now. Scooby-Doo should be able to grow up with the audience. This does not feel like grown-up Scooby-Doo. This is not Mystery Inc. I know I sound like a snob, but to be perfectly honest, I've earned that right. This is not Mystery Inc. Every character has been overhauled to such a significant, ridiculous degree that they are unrecognizable. It's like whoever wrote this thing never watched a single episode of the series. And I'm not talking about the diversification of the cast. I love the diversification of the cast. It's one of the only things about this series that I do like. I love that Velma is South Asian. I love that Shaggy, or Norville as he's called, I love that he's black. I like that Daphne is Asian herself. I love all of that. But they're not the characters I grew up with. Shaggy, for example, Norville, for example, in this series is a lovesick, naive sidekick who has so far demonstrated no signs of cowardice, gluttony, or being, a laid-back, cool dude. Nothing that comes close to resembling the Shaggy that we know and love. Daphne, now I know Daphne's always been a little bit shallow, but in this series, she's almost like Cordelia. She's a shallow, popular girl, abrasive, airhead, obsessed with popularity, something that we've really never seen Daphne do before. Freddie is a spoiled brat who is the heir to an ascot fortune. Okay, I kind of like the fact that he's heir to an ascot fortune. That's kind of funny. But he's portrayed as someone who can't do anything for himself. He is portrayed as somebody who is so helpless that he needs somebody to cut his meat for him. This is Fred Jones, the guy who can create all these elaborate traps, can't cut his own steak? Who wrote this? Now, out of all the characters in the series, I do have to say that I think Velma is closest to anything we recognize because she is intelligent, she's a tad cynical and uncool, but at the same time, she is annoyingly naive, infuriatingly mean to people, always talking down to them, and it's so incredibly hard to find anything about this character to root for. Have I mentioned that there is no Scooby-Doo in this series? Scooby-Doo does not exist in the universe of Velma, and if you ask me, that's almost a mercy to Scooby-Doo because I would hate to see what they would have done to Scooby. Probably be walking around on two legs with a martini in his hand, making sexist jokes. If they let him talk at all, maybe that would be the big joke. Oh, we're not going to let Scooby talk at all this time. Wouldn't that be funny? It's as if this series took beloved characters and decided to change everything about who they were just to generate conflict, which says to me they didn't understand the characters in the first place because the seeds for conflict were already planted in these archetypes that we've had for 50 years. Velma is analytical and skeptical in every way. She always clashes with her teammates. Daphne and Freddie, she was always coming in contact with them because they wanted to say ghost, and she was like, no, there's no such thing as ghosts. Don't be an idiot. She wouldn't call him an idiot because she was always too nice for that, but there was always conflict that way. Shaggy's cowardice always put him at odds with the others. His gluttony always made Daphne kind of wrinkle her nose like, oh, that's disgusting. But at the same time, Shaggy was always the glue that held the team together. I can't believe that a professional writer was given actual money to create a Scooby-Doo show and didn't know enough about Scooby-Doo to recognize that conflict that they were so desperate to squeeze out of these characters was already there and has been for 5 decades. You did not need to demolish these characters and build them again from the ground up. It was so incredibly unnecessary. You can watch Scooby-Doo Mysteries Incorporated and see the endless possibilities that this group of characters lends to both comedy and drama. And it just goes to show that the writers of Velma had absolutely no idea what they were doing. But I get it. The people who were behind Velma watched Harley Quinn. They wanted to do with Mystery Inc. what Harley Quinn did to a bunch of Batman villains. They wanted to take characters that we love and put them into a raunchy comedy. The difference is that Harley Quinn knows who Harley Quinn is. Even though they have been put into these ridiculous situations that are raunchy and hilarious, at the end of the day, Harley Quinn is still Harley Quinn. Poison Ivy is still Poison Ivy, and Batman is still Batman. These characters in Harley Quinn, although they are exaggerated versions of themselves, the writers know who they are, and they respect who they are. The writers of Velma took these characters, who they were, put them in a black plastic bag, tied a knot into it, and threw it into the garbage, starting over. But that's like tearing down a historical landmark to build a Walmart. Am I taking the show too personally? I feel like I'm taking the show too personally. Even if you look beyond what this series has done to a beloved cartoon icon, this series is still incredibly intolerable. The 2 premiere episodes feebly attempt meta-commentary on everything from sex and nudity to cartoon adaptations, and it all hits with a resounding thud. Honestly, I thought it came off as arrogant rather than insightful. When it came to humor, I really don't think that I even laughed once, and I know a lot of people say that, but seriously, I don't think I laughed once. I don't even think I cracked a smile once. All the humor in the show were derived from snarky comments that were supposed to be funny, but they just came off as mean-spirited. We got lots of in-jokes where Norval would say things like he would never do drugs. Norval is also in love with Velma, and Velma is so clueless about this that it makes her seem cruel. Downright cruel. And again, we're all supposed to be rooting for this character. She's supposed to be our hero. But the writing is so bad, you end up hating her by the second episode. And Fred. Oh my gosh. Fred is the most annoying character in the show. Acts like a child. A literal child. Fit-throwing, baby talk, and everything. Oh yeah, this is so funny. Don't you see how funny this is? These are the kind of jokes that makes Brickleberry look positively Shakespearean in comparison. Velma is bad, and I hate that it's bad because I still believe that there is potential in a Scooby-Doo series aimed at adults. Someday I hope to see that, but it is not this day, because Velma is not a Scooby-Doo spinoff. It's a bunch of strangers wearing my friend's clothing and acting like strangers. If you are hoping for a Mystery Inc. series that aged and matured with you, and you happen to see Velma beckoning you from the HBO Max menu, do yourself a favor, listen to my advice, and Scooby don't. Was that mean? I felt like it was mean. And thank you all for watching. I'm terribly sorry if I seemed mean in this one, but I am offended, and I have every right to express my outrage. Scooby-Doo is important to me. Scooby-Doo is my friend. I would do anything for that dog. I'm actually kind of happy he wasn't in this show because I don't know what I would have done to see Scooby trying to read the script to this show.
Oh my god, Raggy, have you seen this?
Like, come on, Scooby, would you be in the show for a Scooby snack?
I wouldn't be in this show for a million Scooby snacks.
If you like these pop culture reviews, please do me a favor and like and subscribe, comment, and share, because it would help me grow my channel and grow my heart. The doctors say an enlarged heart is a bad thing, but I tend to disagree. Do you think that there's a potential in an adult series that focuses on the adventures of Scooby-Doo and Mysteries Incorporated? I do. Let me know what you think. How would you go about making a show like that? Honestly, if I was in charge of it, I'd just transition all the kids into adulthood. Scooby-Doo's the same age, though. Have them go solve more adult mysteries, murders, and things like that. You don't have to rewrite the book, just go to the next chapter. I think I took this series too personal. You think I took this series too personal? I honestly feel like this series was a personal attack against me. That has to be the only explanation. This series was aimed at me because it wanted to hurt me.